Well, good day viewers. Today we're going to try to replace this airbag control module in this 09 GMC Sierra. We've purchased a previously enjoyed one from the salvage yard, and I've got the pigtail connector from it so that I can depin one of the terminals and replace one of the wires, pin 31 I think it was. But the interesting thing is the customer mentioned that he had a recall done on the airbag for the passenger side one of the Takata airbags itself was replaced under warranty. So I thought I'd check for any TSBs and recalls on this thing, and I did find one. Let's have a look. So in the service information there are 3 recalls, and interesting, the most recent one that they just did is not listed here. But there's a product safety material over sensing and diagnostic module retaining moisture, and it says Canada only, and then there's a US version as well, but only certain states. Let's look at the Canada only one. GM has decided the defect relates to motor vehicle safety exists in 7 to 9 model year Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra vehicles. Some of the vehicles have a condition where the sensing and diagnostic module, that's the airbag module, located beneath the driver's seat, may corrode due to a significant quantity of snow and or water containing road salt or other contaminants entering the vehicle and saturating the acoustical padding beneath the carpet. The SDM is located under the driver's seat underneath the acoustical padding. If sufficient moisture collects and is retained in the padding, it may cause excessive corrosion under the module, compromising the module seal and allowing water intrusion and system malfunction. This may result in illumination of the airbag readiness light, along with a service airbag message on the driver's information center. In some cases, the vehicle may contact OnStar and the seatbelt pretensioners or front airbags may deploy. So basically, this recall 09270-C describes the condition that this vehicle has been involved in, but I checked with the dealer today, and the recall was done back in 2009. And what the recall involves is to remove this sound deadening insulation padding. Just lift the carpet up and pull the padding out from around here. And then it says to inspect the airbag module for corrosion. And if there's corrosion, to replace the module. So it says if the sensing and diagnostic module replacement is not required, proceed to step 8. If it is required, proceed to step 6 and 7. Now, GM says once that recall has been performed, and it was done in 2009 according to the service records, they wash their hands of this problem. And that carpeting is missing in there. So that's the Canada version one. But there is another one here that might apply to vehicles in the US. It's basically the same recall. It's a different number, 09184C, but it states it only applies to certain states registered in Alaska, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maine, Maryland, and so on. And basically it's the same thing. Lift the carpet, pull the trim out, pull the padding off, inspect the module for corrosion. If it's corroded, replace it. But once that recall's been done, and chances are that the original owner got a notice, it would have been done in 2009 or 10. But if you manage to keep this thing long enough and not have that recall done, this customer would have got it fixed under warranty for free. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead today and try and reprogram this, replace this module and reprogram it if needed. So here's the used airbag connector, and we need to depin this one wire. So pry this little plastic cover off, it just snaps in there. Untape the harness, use a seam ripper if necessary to cut the tape. I like to use a seam ripper. Now this red plastic piece should just pry out of here, just like so. Pay attention to the orientation. There we go. Now the wire that we need, and you could use any one of them, but I'm going to use the same one that's compromised, is in this corner right here. And I'm going to use a small pick to try to release the terminal and pull it out. Just pull it right through like that. So now we're going to do the same thing to that module that's in the car. This is key switch power, I believe. I think that's what it was, or battery power. Usually red wires are hot at all times, so that's probably battery power. So we're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to splice the wire and solder and heat shrink it. So here's a look at the terminal on the existing wire. You can see that it's compromised, but there's another one right beside it, so I'm going to change 2 of them. So we're going to depin them and replace 2 of them. So there's the module reinstalled. I spliced those 2 wires and I put the splice inside here. This clip is broken on here, but it's not going to really hurt anything. The module is latched. I reconnected the battery. So now we're going to do a network scan and see if the module reports any fault codes. So the airbag warning light is on now. Change engine oil message. Service airbag. Let's see what code it's generating. So we've ID'd the vehicle again. Let's do a code scan. Pre-scan. Why is my... I got the seat out. Oh, that's the seat position sensor circuit open. I still have the seat out and electrically unplugged from the floor. Right front seat position set. That's right front. Passenger presence system. Of course, it could be tied in. Option configuration error could be because of the airbag module not being calibrated for this VIN. Passenger presence system plausibility failure. Well, let's bolt the seat in and re-clear the codes. So I got the driver's seat bolted back in and reconnected, so that should get rid of the seat track error codes. 17 controllers instead of 6 that we had in before. Let's do a code scan one more time and see if we still have the option configuration codes. I'm sure we will. Right front seat position circuit short to ground are open. And option configuration error. Well, I never had the right front seat out. That's passenger side. Option configuration, unless that code is in the right front seat position sensor circuit short to ground. But this B1001 is because of the programming. Let's see if we fix the B1001 code by doing a handshake between the airbag module and the BCM. Okay, body control module has no code, but let's go into the BCM and functional tests, and no, it's not in here. It used to be in the BCM functional test. Set up new SDM. Well, maybe it's in the airbag module. Set up new SDM. No, that's not what I wanted. Set up SDM primary key in BCM. Let's try that. Let's see what happens now. Worst case scenario is I got to connect to GM and download programming. Clear codes. Display codes. Current codes. Right front seat position sensor circuit short to ground are open. Well, that could have been there before. And let's make sure we got no codes in the BCM. Body control module. Display codes. Current codes. No codes. Well, I'll have to talk with the customer to see if he wants me to diagnose the seat position sensor. Back in the airbag module. Display codes. Current codes. Right front, let's write this down. B0080. Right front seat position sensor circuit short to ground or open. Current DTC. Now that's a problem with the seat track sensor on the right side. Sensor data, system configuration. Driver seatbelt switch, passenger seatbelt type switch, driver seat position rearward, passenger seat position rearward. Passenger seatbelt sensor AD milliamps. That looks normal. How about airbag data? Everything looks normal. Well, I'm going to see if the warning light's still on. So we're under the right front seat, and there's a connector hanging here, and I couldn't for the life of me see where it's supposed to go. It kind of looks important, but it's not. I don't see where it plugs in. Unless it's supposed to plug in up here someplace. But I can't see any seat track sensor. Because that's what it was, a code for a seat track sensor. I'm going to look at the wiring diagram and see if these wires match the seat track sensor. But you would think that, I mean, it can't go very far. There's a connector here and a wiring harness here. Everything appears to be plugged in. Oh, by the way, there's that other splice pack right there. 331 or whatever it was from the first video. All the green wires are network wires. So that one's accessible under the passenger seat. And I think that's a rollover sensor there. See a ground under there. I don't see any place for that connector to plug in, and it would be sitting in this area here. That's a console. Oh well, I'm going to look up the schematic. So here's the troubleshooting steps or circuit description for that B0080-06. Says the inflatable restraint seat position sensor is used to determine the proximity of a front driver or passenger seat position with respect to the frontal airbag. This seat position sensor interfaces with the sensing and diagnostic module. The state of the seat position sensor allows the SDM to disable stage 2 of the frontal airbag for the front seat that is forward of the forward-rearward position point in the seat track travel. The SPS is a Hall effect sensor that is mounted on the inboard seat track of the driver and passenger seat. So that 2-wire connector would not be a Hall effect. A Hall effect is typically 3 wires. The seat track includes a metal bracket that shunts the SPS magnetic circuit, creating 2 stages of seat position. So if the seat is rear or forward, the shunted state represents a rearward position. The non-shunted state represents a forward position. The seat position sensor provides 2 current ranges, one range for shunted state and second range for non-shunted state. These 2 states are inputs to the SDM. State 1 shunted being the rearward threshold and state 2 non-shunted being the forward threshold. When the SDM receives input from the SPS, okay, so that 2-wire connector could be for something else that the vehicle doesn't have. Let's look at the schematics and see what passenger presence system 1 of 2. Passenger presence system. inflatable restraint seat tension sensor, seat tension sensor. That's not what we're talking about. That's seatbelt buckle, passenger side. So that's not it. Okay, where's the next diagram? Alright, inflatable restraint, seat position, passenger. So there is 3 wires. No, wait a second. Inflatable restraint, seat position sensor, passenger. Light blue and pink. 10 series crew cab, Mexico. 10 series Mexico. Drivers has got light green and pink, and passenger is light blue and pink. So I'm going to look at that sensor. Well, that's definitely light blue and pink. And it's a 2-wire connector, so where the hell does it plug in? It's got to plug into the seat track somewhere. I'm going to take this seat out a little further and see if I can find it. It's got to be in this general vicinity because the wire is only so long it can't go anywhere. Wow. How could this be so difficult? Well, mystery solved. There it is there. So that wire comes through here and plugs into that connector right there, which is busted off. I wonder if we can get it still connected temporarily. But that's the seat position sensor. It's probably serviced with changing the seat track. I'm going to see if I can plug it in. So that sensor is broken. I'm going to put a piece of heat shrink over this and try and heat shrink it back together again temporarily, because I'm sure this is serviced by replacing this entire track. So I used a piece of heat shrink tubing over top of the connector and over top of what's left of the sensor to secure it. And that seems pretty secure. It must have got whacked by something beside the seat. There was lots of debris beside the seat. So we're going to put this seat back in and bolt it down and see if we can clear that code now. So we got the seat back installed. We're going to clear the codes. Key on, engine off. And then display codes. Current codes. Damn YouTube pop-ups. No codes present. So as long as nobody jams something down beside that seat, it should show that the seat is in a rearward position now. Airbag. Run crank, that's the wrong data. Sensor data. Passenger seat belt switch is unbuckled. Driver's seat position is rearward. Passenger seat position is rearward. Good. So now we just got to put the steering column together now and take it for a road test, but I'm sure it's going to be okay. Well, I know there was codes in the engine control computer. Let's clear all codes out of this now, once and for all. What an adventure. Thanks for watching. So I went to take the truck outside and I noticed the TPMS light on and the message that the left rear tire was low in air. So I checked the left rear tire and had 60 pounds of air pressure. But the left front was at 27. So I filled the left front. I filled all the tires and did a TPMS relearn. I noticed the message to change engine oil soon is on or was on. And according to the sticker, it could use an oil change, but I'll let him look after that. So that's it for now. We'll call this one fixed for now. I'm sure that there's going to be engine control codes in the near future, probably on the next drive cycle, but for now it's running and starting and the airbag system seems to be functional. Thanks for watching.